their call, you know, it's their patient, you know. Sounds like that just come into play again.
What do they want? Take the responsibility? They transport this girl down with a UTV and injure her a little bit further before they get to the squad?
All right, I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for September 3rd, 2019 with roll call, please.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr. Here. Board Member Alan Calloway. Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements for this meeting? I don't have anything for this, guys. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
All I got tonight, Your Honor, is passed out August run totals. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Also, just let you know the engine's back in service. We had a radiator replaced in it, and then compressor went out on it, so it's all back in service. We got it back today. The only thing we got hanging is a hydraulic spreader got broke during one of our trainings, but it's out for repair now. So that's all I have.
All right. Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, just the update on the board. We did our formal interviews last Thursday. We interviewed 5 of them. Very good candidates. Our last thing now is this coming Thursday, we're going to do some polygraph tests on some of them, and then we're going to make our decision. That's all I have.
Okay. EMS Director Rick Clark.
Thanks, Mayor. Nothing to report tonight.
All right. New business, Jenny Felix, new EMS hire.
Thank you, Mayor. We have another EMT paramedic position open. We had yet another long-standing employee retire after 45 years. So Rick and I have been conducting interviews, and we would like to recommend to the board for the position of EMT paramedic Felicia Burdette.
Burdette.
Yes, it's Burdette.
Okay. Any questions, guys? I'll entertain a motion then to approve the recommendation for the new EMS, Felicia Burdette. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other new business, guys? Up here. I have none, no old business. I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. A motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Last meeting, we were supposed to, Board of Works or council, that we're gonna go over the fairgrounds property,
fairgrounds property.
The 10th?
or the 10th. I didn't know whether it was gonna be
Should be
Board of
parks,
Works or council.
parks and playground.
Okay.
Probably should be.
So that'll, okay,
Next meeting.
I just wanna make sure.
Yep, next meeting. Any other old business? Okay, we did the claims. Motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Parks and playgrounds, when we're seated. I'll put that under old business. Yeah, it's at the fairgrounds, so I thought it'd be under parks. Okay, everybody seated? Okay. I call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds meeting for September 3rd, 2019. Roll call, please.
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Board Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Board Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore. President Kelly Milan.
Here.
Myself.
Announcements for this group. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Any new business? If not, I'll go to old business. Paul, you want to bring that up, the fairgrounds?
Yeah, at
Tim?
at the utility board meeting, brought under question who owned the property and if we had taken a vote on the foundation for the tent for the Lineman Rodeo. And, I wanna know if this is the right group to bring it up at. If there needs to be any discussion. If not, I'd like to make a motion that we, let the utility company put this tent up on that property.
Any discussion?
Well, I'll say Dallas is the right group.
Well, I think you've got two issues. One, you've got a Board of Works issue, whether or not we can permanently alter the Lawrenceburg Fairgrounds by installing a new building. So that changes the fairgrounds. I think the Board of Works would need to weigh in on that. And then you've got a council issue, / utility service board issue to determine whether or not the spending was approved and how it was approved. I looked into it a little bit. I know that there was a question about the minutes versus the video. The minutes and the video are consistent. There was no price brought to a vote for the permanent installation. And then we look back even last year, there was never a price brought to approve buying the tent. In the first place, I know the tent cost $80,000 to purchase. It costs $35,000 to put up and take down each time. I'm not sure how much the concrete installation is, so I would say council, the utility board, and the Board of Works should all weigh in on this.
Well, the Board of Works just tried to, but
So could
That's
we
for-
reopen the Board of Works if that's your recommendation?
You want to?
Well, I'm asking, 'cause I just asked to take care of it if it was needed. Kelly, what do you think?
I don't know why this wouldn't have fallen under Parks and Playgrounds. It's park.
Board of Works deals with all land deals.
Yeah, but there was no land deal.
They're putting a building on the
I mean, there was no.
city property.
But what I was saying, that we have no agreement, that nobody ever presented that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There was nothing presented to the city to say, hey, we'd like to put this on city property. So I think that needs to be drawn up. And then I guess it would go before the Board of Works.
Well, I would think they
As
had to
far-
present it to the parks and then go to the Board of Works, I guess, if you,
We could.
that way. The project and then the land.
And as far as appropriating money to pay for it, I think that's out of USB anyway, I think. So it wouldn't be a council issue.
Sure. Well, USB reports their finances to council, so council's kind of the final say. So however you guys want to handle it.
Well, I mean, I think it warrants a discussion. We can do the discussion in this meeting. I'd like to see something drawn up. If we're gonna change the landscape of the fairgrounds, probably needs to be done appropriately with something brought in writing to the Board of Works. That's my opinion. Does that sound correct?
Yep.
You guys have any opinion on that, or?
Well, the only comment I have is that, I think we need to do something. The rodeo is quickly approaching, as is Fall Fest, and, I think that, the quicker we resolve this, the better. If we can resolve it tonight, then whatever Mr. Clausen has to do, he can get it accomplished.
Well, still, we're not gonna have anything in writing to present to the Board of Works. gotta be in a form of a request, I would think.
Do you wanna see a plot plan with an area and planning and zoning, and which we've already been through? What do you wanna see?
I just say it it's gotta spell out what the USB is asking for. I mean, 'cause you gotta have some kind of record. You know, if you're gonna, it'd be no different if we were gonna put up a new building, you know, you'd have to have some kind of a record. Is this gonna be considered a permanent building?
I would consider it a permanent foundation with a semi-permanent building. It can be taken down.
The USB voted to, make it a permanent building, pending the Board of Works approval,
Okay.
unless it was, approved to be taken down by city council. So that way the city saves the expense of putting it up and down every year.
I got it.
And as far as not ever having any record of buying it, I can remember a conversation about okaying the tent for the possible civic park, which I know that wouldn't work, but I just don't know where all these conversations get lost at. Why?
Well, there's no vote.
No, there was a vote to approve purchasing the building. That was done.
There's
You
record
provide that
purchase
to us?
The tent, right? You're saying home?
Yeah, the tent.
We do not have record of that.
Well, Richard,
But I'm
You
sorry,
do.
Richard, but I remember it also.
yeah, that was 9
there
months
was
prior to last rodeo.
discussed and approved to purchase the tent.
I've watched those minutes, Richard. I can't remember. I might be able to get back to you, but that is on a video.
Well, there was no vote at the last USB meeting to approve putting up the tent permanently.
Pending Board of Works approval, there was.
Pending the Board of Works approval. Yes, there was.
Permanently, unless it was,
There was a motion and a vote for
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-1.
Yep.
But I think we ought to go back to the right procedure that should have been done in the beginning. If that's to go to the Parks Board and then to the Board of Works to get permission, then that's what we ought to do. We shouldn't shortchange or shortcut anything. Go through the right channels.
I agree with that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You did go to the planning and zoning, and we got all the setbacks.
Yeah, and it was an open discussion with,
You went to the state, got a state release,
yep.
and you had a conversation. I mean, let me ask you this. Can we still get that building ready to use for the rodeo and go through all these procedures and do all of our, for records purposes? Is that what we're trying to do here, or do you want to stop work?
Well, let's be honest, I mean, 50% of it's already completed,
Probably more than that.
or more than that, probably. But, I mean, if we rewind, we should have done it right the first time. There should have been permission asked to put it up on city property, and then there would have been a project to make it more of a permanent structure.
Should have been permission asked and recorded and voted on.
I don't know which city attorney was here, 'cause I think Dale might have been out, but we made that motion to allow it over there. We might have done it wrong by the utility board, but we made a motion to approve letting it be, installed over there.
That word
But it wasn't a
proceed was-
permanent structure.
No, maybe not at that time, but it was,
Oh.
yeah, it was, permitted
Because
to be put up
there
over
was,
there.
because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Owen, I think you approached the LCD to see if you could leave it up permanently where it was at one time.
No, I never asked the
No?
LC do that. Other people asked if they could use it, but I never asked the LCD that. I know I asked the Utility Service Board, some of the discussion that was had was to talk with Rudisell, which I did. Rudisell was perfectly okay with the idea. And I do want to remind everybody, we keep talking city property, utility property. It's all the same. It's all the same ownership. City owns all the property. So, I mean, it's just like all the utilities bank accounts, they got the city of Lawrenceburg's name on them. They're different funds, but ultimately it all belongs to the city. So it's not like you're transferring property to somebody outside the city. We are a division of the city.
But you have to ask the ones who govern that property permission to do it, and that's why it should have gone to the Parks and Rec and then to the Board of Works. I'd be willing to do this, you guys want to do it in a hurry. We can have a special meeting if you want. You get it presented, how much it's gonna be, where it's gonna be, what it's gonna look like, and you can have a special meeting, set one up to do it quicker. I don't have a problem with that, but I just believe we need to go through the right channels to do something. We can't just
Well,
shortcut
that's
things.
fine, but nobody's clear on the channels, because last meeting, you said it needed to come before Board of Works.
And I still believe it should be in front of the Board of Works.
Well, Board of Works just went.
Board of Works
came up,
governs
went
all the
by.
land of the city unless it's redevelopment.
So it doesn't seem that anybody knows what the proper procedure is. And when we looked it up, when I say we, a utility attorney and I looked it up in state statute, we could not find a procedure that was outlaid of how that had to happen. So,
So
No,
who approved the project?
I believe the Utility Service Board did, and they certainly did in the last meeting.
But they didn't prior to the work being done.
No, but they did last meeting.
Okay.
And I believe they did in the meeting before.
I think we did. We said proceed.
But, no, but you didn't have any, you're supposed to get some costs. The meeting before was to come back with costs to do it on a permanent, for the foundation and stuff like that. That's what I remember. Now, listen, you guys, I mean.
Well, I think we're making a big deal out of this, and I don't think any of us here, somebody please speak up if I'm wrong, but I think Tony's right. It's 4-1 that we're gonna, no matter what we do here, I feel pretty sure that we're gonna okay this thing, and here we are talking about it. I just, man, if we forgot to take a vote, let's correct it, but we got a event coming up in a few weeks that does good for the city, and I think all intentions were pretty good. I don't think there's anything going on here that any of us should be ashamed of. I mean, I think it's just a good event for the city, and
Looks good.
and as far as I like to clear something up about the conservancy, when he came to us, it was for a temporary, I can't lose my parking.
Right.
So I wanted it was okay to be there, but it needed to come down.
I got it.
So that was the agreement from day one.
Okay.
It never has been back presented to them any other way.
Okay.
And I agree with Tony, it should go
I
through,
apologize. I thought it was presented to him.
No, not.
I think it should go through the proper channels, but no, it seems like nobody knows what the proper channels are.
Well, I'm gonna suggest something, that we let Mr. Clausen proceed to get this accomplished, and then go back and get the proper channels done. If it's voted down, you take the tent down and you bust up the concrete.
That's a little absurd.
I don't wanna spend $90,000 for nothing.
Done. This gets
Yeah.
the tent up.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just, here's what I'm gonna suggest. If we were starting from scratch, and if Olin was gonna be coming to us, he'd have to approach Board of Works first to make a change over on the city property. Everybody agree with that?
I say the parks too, because I don't know where it's going at. Is it going where there's a football field, practice football field over there or anything?
No, but what I'm saying though, to alter the property itself, it would have to go before Board of Works, okay? And then the location and everything that went along would go before Parks and Playgrounds.
Okay.
Make sense? If we were starting from scratch. And then, sounds like the money is coming out of USB,
Correct?
correct?
Correct.
All right. So, this is what I'm gonna suggest. We're having the discussion on it in Parks and Playgrounds right now. All right. I would suggest that we post a special Board of Works meeting to get the other piece taken care of.
Well,
We-
Back up.
We can do that in 48 hours.
can we back up this evening
Well,
and seat the Board of Works?
No, it's been.
It was already
wasn't on the
closed
agenda.
out. I
No,
would
it was
rather,
asked before it was closed out.
I know, and I apologize. I said, and I didn't know that was discussed at the USB because I was at the AIM conference last week. But this is the way we're gonna do it, is we're gonna have, we can advertise for a meeting in 48 hours. And we'll come in and we can meet and talk about altering the park itself, or the fairgrounds itself.
I just
And all-
want everybody to realize where it's going for, I don't know how long, 1, 2, 3 years, or a decade, there was a pile of metal there that when we had the rodeo the first year there, we cleaned it up and cleaned that corner up. So that corner's been a mess for years and years and years. So it's not like this is impeding on anything. Matter of fact, Rudy's pretty, he's on board, I guess I should say. And I know he doesn't own the fairgrounds, but I'd urge everybody to go take a look at it.
Okay. So today's Tuesday, we'll, we can advertise for one on Friday morning. If you guys wanna do a morning, if anybody can make it in the morning, we'll,
You're looking at Board of Works or Parks?
Board of Works. You two. You and you. Friday morning. Okay. Okay.
Make sure
So
Carrie
what do we need
emails
to do
us.
in the parks?
Make sure Carrie emails.
Connor,
What's that?
what do we need to do in the parks?
No, just have the discussion, and if you got questions about where it's gonna be, what it's gonna look like, and things like that, probably be the time to ask. But it's, I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere from where it's at right now.
I'd like to see the drawings of it, the estimated cost of it.
Didn't you see it last year?
No, it did not. And it's not in the same place it was last year, is it? Because last year it was on conservancy property, now it's on city property,
It's the same.
permanently.
Same structure.
And I like to know, do we really need it? Don't we have an empty building at the fairgrounds that they could use? That used to be the maintenance building?
No, it's not empty.
What do we use it for?
I don't know, I'm not in the
Wait.
maintenance department.
No, I believe, maintenance is using it over there. We still got we got storage in that.
Say it's just storage. I bet you we could empty that out. But that's just another
We
idea.
already have the tent, Tony.
I know we had tent and Mel. I'm aware of that.
I don't understand.
So Tony, you want to see a drawing of what it,
Yeah, I want to see what's going in there.
you want, so a plot of where it's at, and
And
then
I want to know how much.
how much
I want
it's
to know
gonna
how
cost.
much.
Tony, are you putting this all in the form of a motion?
If you want it to be in the motion, that's fine.
So the motion would be from Tony, if I,
To bring
Correct
back
me if I'm wrong.
drawings, the estimated cost
The Parks Board or Board of Works?
to the Parks Board. It'll have to go to the Board of Works too, I would think. Board of
it'd
Works
be a
have
part,
to,
it could be
Board of
part of
Works
the,
have to know what they're voting on.
it could be part of the, Friday meeting with that. So what you're asking for in your motion is a, copy of the plans and a cost for making it more of a permanent, semi-permanent structure.
Right. And you can schedule the Parks meeting after the Board of Works if you like.
I don't know how convenient it would be for people that are
I can write it
working.
down if everybody wants to do it. I mean, I can make it down.
What time?
10:30.
If you want to see a sketch of the drawing or actually a picture of the building, all you gotta do is look on the front page of the newspaper.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna do a 10 a.m. Board of Works, a 10:30 Parks on Friday. Everybody okay?
It all depends
Okay.
what that counts.
I don't know that we'd have to, personally, I don't know why we have to have council. We're not appropriating any money for it.
Second.
I think that'd be it, Parks and Board of Works, and I think I'd take care of it.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Any other old business under Parks?
I'd like to ask a question. I'd like a presentation from somebody here one of the next couple of meetings to let us know what plans might be for this winter as far as maybe projects, maybe some things that we might be planning on updating, refreshing, or anything. Just
In the parks you're talking about, though?
in just, yeah, on our parks.
Winter park
So
program.
if somebody could give us an update on that, that'd be all I would ask.
All right. I'll get Kim or Brad or Mario, one of them.
When does the new splash park start?
Next week.
Next week. It's a great addition. Your kids are gonna love it.
The Abbott Splash Park. All right. So is that what you wanted, Paul? Is the winter
Just,
parks up?
just want to know what our.
Projects
plans are for
update?
that.
All right.
Oh, one other thing. We discussed on what we're gonna name our new Lawrenceburg plazas. I mean, is it Lawrenceburg Plaza, or are we gonna give it a special name dedicated to somebody or not?
The park?
Yeah, the park.
We haven't talked any more about it, I guess, but we can, but right now it's just Lawrenceburg Civic Park.
I think it's a good name.
We don't hurt anybody's feelings that way.
That's true. Of course, I want Veterans Memorial Park. Remember, that was my suggestion.
I mean, you guys, I mean, we can talk about
Lawrenceburg.
name and,
Lawrenceburg Civic Park.
I mean, I'm open to talking about it. Just been so much going on, we didn't
Yeah.
think about that beforehand or anything. So right now, it's called Lawrenceburg Civic Park.
I guess we'll stick with that.
Okay. LCP. All right, any other old business? If not, entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg City Council meeting for September 3rd, 2019. All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Can I get a roll call, Richard?
Yeah. Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Here.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Here.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Here.
City Court Judge Joe Johns.
Present.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, announcements, board reports. Streets, alleys, and curbs, Mr. Cook.
One thing, Mayor, I was
Yes, sir.
approached by a few people that live toward the end of Arch Street, and this would also affect the end of St. Clair toward Hollywood. I guess there's semis that idle there a lot at night, and it keeps them awake. So I was wondering if we can make like the closest 2 blocks on St. Clair and Arch, like no idling. I guess they mostly do it by Arch Street Park, but
Would those be semis that are loading or unloading for stuff? Or just people staying
yeah,
there,
well, they go in.
parked there?
The drivers go in and everything, just by, they don't unload anything, they go in and just leave the truck running and come back out.
You're
So,
talking about in that gravel lot on our street?
I act like it was by Arch Street Park, I don't know exactly, but. Usually it's right on the street. Yeah, that's what I heard, right there by the park.
It's on next to the Hollywood. The old park. Yeah, the old park.
What's that, Ken?
No houses right there that close outside of Hutchins.
Dennis Hutchins says, I am.
Well, hey, I put up with those semis for a long time on St. Clair Street.
That's why I said it
doesn't bother me, our neighbors more in the back of the house, but AJ and Brittany next door, it comes right down the street and keeps them awake all night.
that's why I said it would affect St. Clair and Arch.
Yeah.
Aaron, they park
Yep.
right on the corner of Center and Arch,
Okay.
right on the casino's corner,
Okay.
where they got that little parking area, they just leave it there all night long. They're pretty loud.
So it's on casino property?
No, it's on street.
Oh, on the street? Do we have anything that, we could do about
Just thinking if
that?
you put like some no idling signs, maybe that first block there or something.
No wake zone?
Yeah.
No idle?
Disturb the peace at early morning, I'm sure may ask legal about that.
That sounds like it's an all-nighter, all-night ordeal, right?
You'd have to have an ordinance that would say, would prevent idling, or it would have to violate the noise ordinance.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it go under our noise ordinance or not?
It's loud.
If it's loud enough?
You'd have to violate an ordinance and then be enforced by LPD.
What about a sign there, Mr. Clark? No idle? At least, I mean, no semi-trucks.
How about you say no truck parking, period?
We can put a sign up, yeah, it won't
I know.
be enforceable.
It's only as good as,
yes.
the ordinance
We
it's
can
written
get
on.
a sign made and put up there. Well, I don't think the semis can occupy 6 spaces at one time.
That's what I was wondering about that, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know how long they could do
We do have
it.
spaces indicated on the street, so that right there is probably enough.
Probably
that
give a parking ticket for
The police department could probably enforce it that way.
Are they not allowed doing it at all, or is
Probably
there a
enforce
time limit
that.
though?
I don't think they
Make
can
it
take
move
up
and
more than one.
Can we,
somewhere else.
can we keep an eye on that? And if they are parked in taking up 6 spaces?
They've done that for years,
Yeah.
even on St. Clair Street, I put up with that for several years and nothing was ever done.
I mean, we can tell them at least turn it off or something.
No time better than the present, right?
You know? Good luck.
Yes, sir.
There it's,
You know, there's a lot right here.
just a tractor trailer. Just a tractor, they don't have the trailer on.
Okay.
Generally, what happens.
And they're leaving it running?
All night.
The tractor won't fit in one spot by
Yeah.
itself either.
Yeah, it's gotta have multiple spots, so. Just keep an eye on that, and
We
then
can enforce something.
we could, in the meantime, put up just no truck parking,
Yeah, period.
I'll get a sign made up.
and see where it goes. If we have to, then we gotta change ordinance or whatever, but it sounds like we can enforce the,
We'll do it on St. Clair Street too, if you're gonna do it on Arch.
Yeah, I think it should, that's why I said, I think it should be both those
Gotta
first
be on
blocks.
St. Clair too.
That's it, guys. Keep moving them over to Elm Street where I'm at.
I'm okay with that. Okay, we hear you, Connie. Okay. Anything else, Aaron?
Yeah, that's all I had, Mayor.
Finance, Mr. Abbott.
We're fine.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour.
Good.
Fire, Randy Abner.
The fire department's gonna start their 2019 fire prevention. I got the schedule here for the month of October, and they're gonna be rather busy. So,
Looks like it.
fire prevention's gonna be, going at the firehouse.
Okay. Are you done, Randy? A couple announcements. I just want to say how I think Music on the River this year was very successful. A lot of compliments go out to the city and the city workers for just a bang-up job. It was very, very successful. I don't know what the average crowd was, but over 2,000 on the average probably on a Thursday night. Pretty awesome. Tonight, if you guys get a chance, Ivy Tech is putting on Shakespeare in the Park. I think Macbeth, if I'm not mistaken. Paul used to play the lead in that. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. But anyway, that's
That's
up.
when he had longer hair.
Yeah. Or Romeo. You were Romeo. I'm sorry. That's right. Anyway, it's at 7 o'clock at Civic Park, Lawrenceburg Civic Park. And then also, I wanted to tell you guys or remind you, I think I said at the last meeting, we'll have budget books delivered next Monday to my office. I'll have Carrie get a hold of you when they're in there. You can pick them up. You'll have a week to take a look at it before we have the budget session on the 16th at 4:30. So get your questions all ready and everything. I think that's all I got under announcements. No other announcements. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And then August the 12th, we had a work session for council. I need a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
All I have is, everybody should have a copy of the August run totals. If you have questions, just give me a shout.
Okay. Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is, had contact with Kathy Hogston. They're gonna do the arts and crafts this weekend, and we're gonna help them out with parking. We'll have our digital sign out there to park them at the old, where the old, lot was, right there by the bowling alley. We'll direct them over there,
Okay.
help them out a little bit. That's all I have.
Okay. EMS Director Rick Clark.
Thanks, Mayor. Nothing from us tonight.
Okay. City Court Judge Joe Johns.
Thank you, Mayor. In the month of August, the Lawrenceburg City Court had 235 new case filings. That brings us to a year-to-date total of 2,046 case filings filed on the Lawrenceburg City Court, and we'll have the financials prepared for you in our next meeting. Thank you.
Okay. New business. I don't have any listed. Any new business?
Is the Linkmeyer proposal old or new?
Be old.
Okay.
Old business?
There was something sent forward from the USB about a $400,000 bill that needed to be taken care of. You want to discuss that now? It's supposed to have been discussed tonight.
What was the bill? Which
More
bill?
than four.
Well, I don't know.
Finance
It's for
tonight.
the pole work over by the UCB.
4th Street?
Yeah.
Or Front Street?
Yeah, I can weigh in on that. So we met with State Board of Accounts, and they asked the city attorney to draft a statement in regard to this bill, so I did that, and I'll read that now. It's the position of the city attorney's office that the invoice submitted by LMU for work done at 4th and Front Streets cannot be paid, and to do so would violate the law. This expenditure was never voted on, it was never appropriated, it's never budgeted, and it was never bid. There are significant issues with the invoice itself, both direct and indirect, which we will discuss. For these reasons, it cannot and should not be paid. Furthermore, the Indiana State Board of Accounts supports this conclusion, and Reedy Financial Group has given us a financial analysis that supports the position that we cannot pay this invoice. In 2017, City Council and LMU discussed the widening of the turn at 4th and Front Streets by moving infrastructure off of the curb. The necessity for this project was based on the LMU pole being continuously struck by vehicles, resulting in property damage and an ongoing danger and concern. At that time, Mike Clark asked Olin Clausen for an engineering estimate for the cost to move the pole so it could be submitted in a community crossings grant application. The number that Olin Clausen gave was $180,000. This is contained in the grant application that was prepared by Land Consultants and submitted to the state of Indiana. This project was never presented for a vote of approval and was never sent out for bids, again, never appropriated and never budgeted. In fact, it seems that it was only discussed at 2 meetings. April 29, 2019, Utility Service Board meeting, Colin Browning gave an update to the Utility Service Board and stated that the pole relocation would cost $223,000. Again, no engineer's estimate was provided or presented and no vote was taken. It was again discussed at the June 24th, 2019 meeting. Colin Browning stated the project would cost $359,000. Olin Clausen stated the project could get as high as $400,000. Again, no vote taken, no engineer's estimate, and Olin Clausen stated that the work would be done in-house. At the end of August, LMU submitted an invoice for $1,327,987.87 to the clerk treasurer and demanded that it be paid. A financial analysis was conducted by an accounting firm in Indianapolis, Reedy Financial Group, and revealed the following. The bill contained $228,827.08, and this report will be made available to whoever wants it. $228,827.08 in administrative fees. Every invoice that did not involve either LMU work or LMU equipment, there was approximately 40% added to that invoice as in called an administrative fee without further explanation. There was also 10 hours of overtime at $210 an hour for Olin Clausen's work, although he is a salaried employee. There was 20 hours of overtime for two of the fiber workers, and they were billed, the bill to the city was for $94.68 an hour. 7 linemen working 280 hours in the month of July. The bill for that was $63.12 an hour, and 1 foreman working 280 hours at $66.97. The 280 hours reflected for the month of July would either require 35 8-hour days or 12.7 hours a day for every single working day in the month of July, but of course hours over 8 would require overtime. These hourly rates of $67 an hour, $63, $95 an hour were increased from the salary ordinance listed because they were increased to include pension, insurance benefits, and other benefits, although those, as we all know, those benefits are not paid by LMU, they're paid by the city.
Not correct.
Fiber costs were added to the bill as well, which is a concern. There was also a bill for a tree to be taken down that fell in an alley on Center Street. There were there were 7 poles listed at various costs that are included in this invoice estimate. So the primary concern, again, and the reason that we cannot pay it is because it was never appropriated or budgeted, and the bid process was not followed. Only legally, under Indiana law, only the mayor can propose an additional appropriation, then council votes to approve it, and we can budget to pay a project. Before an appropriation could have been prepared for this project, however, we should have gotten an engineer's estimate for the work, as well as the lowest responsive and responsible bid, so that we could know what the actual cost for the project would be. Again, no appropriation, no budgeting, no engineer's estimate, and no bid. Even if these steps were taken, there are very significant issues with this invoice that require further examination and reporting. Olin Clausen told the city this project would cost $180,000 and submitted that number to be included in a grant application. He then stated in a public meeting it could cost up to $400,000. 2 months after that, a bill was submitted for over $1.3 million of taxpayer money to be paid to the utility department. If we would have just paid this bill without a further analysis being undertaken, we could be subject to a taxpayer lawsuit, a ratepayer lawsuit, and possibly civil or criminal penalties for a bill that includes inappropriate spending and request for repayment. The attempt to recover a large amount of cash and the attempt to include fiber internet costs could be linked to the spending of approximately $10 million in electric cash reserves. On the reporting and the numbers that we've taken a look at as a result of looking at this bill and other internal auditing show that on January 1st, 2018, the electric utility carried a cash balance of approximately $10.1 million. On December 31st, 2018, that balance had shrunk to approximately $4.1 million. As of July 31st, 2019, the cash balance is only $688,000, down from $10.1 million, based on the numbers that we've seen. The opinion that we obtained as a result of this accounting audit indicates that that is a dangerously low capital reserve to hold, and in my opinion, that puts the electric utility in danger, which again relates to some of these increased rates that have been proposed. We've been conducting an audit using Reedy Financial Group. Thank you. We have been conducting an audit using Reedy Financial Group and Umball, which is now Baker Tilly. Their findings are that this money has been spent on the fiber internet company. A review of the minutes show that no votes were ever taken, no budget was ever presented, and this spending was not approved. This is perhaps the most concerning part of this entire matter. We have been cautioned that having such a low cash balance puts the electric utility in serious danger, and the only way to rebuild that cash balance would be for LMU to raise rates on hardworking citizens. We will continue to investigate this issue and other issues we have uncovered with the finances of LMU. We hope that that LMU will cooperate fully with the investigation conducted by the Clerk Treasurer's Office and our accounting firms. For these reasons, and based on the opinions of Reedy Financial Group, the Indiana State Board of Accounts, the Clerk Treasurer's Office, and the City Attorney's Office, we cannot pay this invoice.
Okay, so first of all, we talked with legal and state board of accounts. They didn't say any things that you've said, quite actually to the contrary. Secondly, we are putting cash back in reserve. We are making money and putting it back in reserve. There hasn't been $10 million spent. What you're seeing here is a hit job by Dale Weldon on me for personal reasons, It's a political hit job. It's total crap. I brought this up in several meetings, including the Utility Service Board, and sent emails out and said, this project's going to be extremely expensive. I'm not happy with the way the project is, and I want to go on the record and state that. You didn't seem to mind our help when we spent $250,000 on the Civic Park to help get that open and get the fiber and everything going on. So I like how you're picking and choosing the things you want to make an issue of. The electric utility is stable.
If there's a fiber bill, shouldn't that go into the fiber company, not into
The fiber
city?
bill for that, is to reroute stuff we've already got in place because the project has to be rerouted. The $189,000 was a cost for a pier and a pole, period. Nothing else with the reroute. Go pull the invoice up and look at it. Doesn't talk about one thing to do with the invoice.
Well,
As far as the rates are concerned, the full burden rates, the city pays some retirement. They don't pay all those things Dale just listed. That's a lie. And we charge full burden rate when we bill ourselves out to people. When I do work and I bill work for PriPac, when I do work for the power plants or anybody we bill work for, we use those same exact numbers. Those are accepted full burden numbers. That's what we use. Any contract that I have that we turn around bill, if you have outside people, we put 40% on it because we have to administer that. We have to use utility cash to make sure it gets paid. And that's just the way it is. It's the way utilities operate. We don't do work for what it costs us to do work. Nobody does that, including this company. So if you want to put credence into Dell's hit job, fine, go ahead.
What are the reserves in the electric department? I would like to know that. I know what Dell says it is, but what are you saying it is?
I'm saying the electric utility doesn't have a problem.
That's not what I want to hear. I want a dollar
I don't have
amount.
the numbers right in front of me, Tony. Colin, you want to address some of this?
Yeah, so the electric utility does have about $600,000 in cash, but they also have accounts receivable from the loan to the fiber company of about $4 million. We have a lot of bills going out right now. We just billed a few more projects for about $100,000 each. It's not an issue of not having cash. I know a few years ago, Olin, you had a study done with Crow, and they told us we needed to spend some of our reserve.
In the study with Crow, they said we needed to expend cash because we had an amount that was not justifiable, thus the fiber project.
But
So
in
in our budget that we submitted,
that money goes back to the city. You don't spend it.
it
just
doesn't
to
go back to
spend
the
it.
city.
Yes,
No,
it
no,
does.
Dale, that's not how it works.
That is
You're
exactly how it
you're
works.
showing your ignorance here. That's not how it
You
works.
just stated that you were advised by Crow Harbaugh to spend money because you had too much money. That's
No.
not
They
your
said
money.
you need to identify some projects. The project we identified was the fiber project. The money that the city gave us to build a fiber project was for the backbone. It didn't have anything to do with the laterals and all the other secondary last mile and to the homes and all those
Whatever
things.
this fiber project is, there's no record of the money that you're spending on it. It's very dangerous.
Well,
it's frighteningly dangerous that you're
In
able
your
to spend
opinion,
this money
sure.
without.
In your opinion,
So it's
sure.
okay to spend this money without a vote, without any permission.
We've had
in
these
public.
discussions in this meeting.
May I ask a
That
question?
budget was presented, Dale.
May I ask a question about how much money? You said that the LMU has loaned the fiber $5 million? $4 million. Okay.
4.1 or something.
And how much has the city given to the fiber project?
$780,000.
So we have, and I asked this at the last USB meeting to find out how much money we put into this fiber. So that's almost $5 million we have in the fiber so far, and we've got 40 customers.
Do you think that these things get built overnight, Tony?
It was supposed to have been built a lot quicker than what it's been
But
done.
even when it's built, do you think they get the customers overnight? We're turning 3 to 6 customers a day.
You've been turning
that
customers
many?
for a while.
We are.
I was told you were able to get maybe 2 a day.
No, we're getting 3 a day, and we repurposed the linemen to start going back now that we got some projects done, and we're getting 6 done a day.
So you got more people.
That's right.
Working on. Can we go back to the poll? I'd like to talk about the poll because I think people would understand that if the project, we got a project coming up. For those of you who may not have caught all that, there's a project out there with our community crossings grant. It's going to be a softening of the radiuses on 4th and Main and 4th and Front. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it's all part of a community crossings project. Part of that deal was we were gonna have to have this pole moved. The pole we're talking
correct.
about, right there on the corner. Everybody can see how many times it's been hit. Everybody knows which pole it is. But correct me if I'm wrong, and because what I like to do is remember what I heard back in June was that it was gonna be about a $400,000 project.
That was the cost to date.
Okay. Well, no, the numbers you had at that time were 223,000.
No, I
And you
reported
said-
back in June, and it was, I think, 359.
Or 359.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think you made a comment, gonna be 400.
Yeah.
plus. You may even said plus, I don't know. That's a whole lot more, or a lot less than 1.3. If I would have heard, and I'm talking as the mayor, if I would have heard that this pole replacement or removal or moving of this pole was going to cost 1.3 million, I would have said absolutely not, and I would have said absolutely if we're going to have to do something like that, we would have looked at alternatives.
I 100% agree with you.
But let me finish. So I think we all can agree that people would have asked questions. At what point should we have been brought this information before the project was done, that how much it was going to cost us for the project?
Well, I believe I raised that very question in February to you
Okay,
and all the utility service board members,
okay,
complaining that this was not my project, that I was put in a
Right.
position of having to go out and talk with the landowners and all
Right.
the different people. And I was upset about that, and I said, this project's gonna be very expensive. And I actually listed some bullet points of questions that should be asked.
Yeah.
What's total project cost?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Things of that nature.
yes.
Your response to me is you were gonna get with Mike Clark and you guys were gonna get back with me. No one ever got to
No,
me.
my
I was the only one
response-
asking questions.
My response was that I agreed that when we do projects like this, everybody
I
should
can
be
read your response. That's not what you said.
everybody should be in the same room. But not once was it ever brought up that it was gonna be in excess of $1 million. You
Well,
agree with
this
that?
is Mike Clark's project. If he had bid it out and we'd have gone through the proper channels, like we should have,
Right?
yeah, it probably would have come back at that, and you guys would have said at that point, let's not do it. It just seems real funny that after the project's done, after we work our tails off to do what we think we're being asked to do, then all of a sudden there's a big problem.
Well, the problem, no, I don't have a problem with people doing the work. Oh, and I have a problem with not knowing. That's the piece that I have a problem with, not knowing what the numbers were gonna be. And this group up here ought to have the same problem.
I've had it before.
Right. I think we all have.
Gravel Road,
Yeah.
did a road project and utility wasn't even talked to.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And that's, you're right.
So do we, how much money would that have put back in utilities cash reserves? I mean, can you give us some
About 200
examples?
grand probably, but no, again, we weren't asked.
But
We were just
I'm gonna ask
made to
Mel.
go do it.
I'm gonna ask Mel to step up to the plate here, because I wanna go back in history, and I know we don't necessarily have to do things like we used to do, but we're not real good planners, and I think what we used to do, this man right here is gonna give us an answer to it. What happened to you before, Mel, when you were operating in the red and a utility project come up? Was the taxpayers put that burden on? Because I kinda feel like as a ratepayer, that this is all on me and my household. So how did you guys pay for these kind of projects?
When I was utility director, as you all know, we asked for a rate increase 17 times and were turned down, so we could fund projects. But anyway, when there was a project done at the city's request, the city paid for it out of the MDF fund. If the utility was working in whatever area we're talking about, and there were no big issues from the utility, and the utility service or services had to be moved for whatever reason to accommodate this project, the city had to pay for it. That's just the way it was.
You know, we're all sitting here and we've got a project that we see a bill on, and guess what? That pole that we all wanted moved,
Still there.
it ain't moved yet, and I want somebody to answer me, how come it's not moved yet?
CenturyLink is what I've been told, right?
CenturyLink and Comcast.
This was planned terrible.
When I
It's
moved,
not-
Paul, let me interrupt you a second. When I moved the first pole, golly, I'm getting old, I can't remember the exact date, but I moved the first pole back from that steel pole that was on the corner, back, I think, 8 or 10 feet to the west. CenturyLink and Comcast were notified at that time that they had to vacate that steel pole, and they haven't to date, for whatever reason.
I got some kind of compromise here if you guys want to do this. Olin, could you go through and get a material list that you spent on that project? The clerk treasurer write a check out for that, and everybody agrees on that, because there are questions.
What I can do.
There are questions, because, like, one thing in there, I'm having a hard time figuring out why that borders on 4th Street, Front Street, Main Street, US 50. Why is there a tree cut down on Center Street on that bill?
Because we had to bring in a tree trimming service to reroute the service that feeds the homes on Short Street as it continues on, because the way it used to be fed is it went to the pole on the corner that's in question, the wood pole, had a single phase tap overhead that went to that street and went up. In order to refeed that whole block, we had to go up the alleyway and then back across to pick that back up.
On Short Street?
Yes, we had to reroute all of that.
Why was the tree cut on Center Street?
I'd have to look and see, but the tree that we had trimmed was in the alleyway towards the tank farm for the distillery.
Well, like I said, that's just one question. Apparently
What I
there are
will
other
say is
questions,
this.
but can we come up with a material list to get the LMU paid?
Given the material list, and we've got the wages for the contractor that we had using the job, working on the job. There's no way LMU would ever have done that job in-house. There's just simply no way we would have. So our contractors, look, when we do work for other people, we add cost to the people that we have working for us. That's what we do. We manage a contract, we have outlay of cash, we charge for those things, just like anybody would if they're subs. Our wages, we always charge full benefit. Always charge full cost on the wages. We recover all of those costs. We don't mark the employees' wages up, but we charge full benefits for them. We charge full scale. On the materials that we sell, we charge 40%. And I don't believe we charge 40% on the contracts. We charge 20%. 20% on the contracts. Dell was wrong again.
No, that was 40%.
No, it's not 40%.
Brittany, can you speak to that? I think there was one that was 20%, but the rest were 40.
Well, you think, I know, we charge 20% on the, we charge 20% on the contracts, or on the, on Sergeant, we charge 40% on materials.
Why would you charge a city, though?
Because we have to.
No,
We're not
you don't
allowed
have
by
to.
law. We are
No,
not
no, no, no,
allowed
no,
by
no.
law.
That's not, I don't believe that's true, is it?
It is true. We are not allowed by law to engage in divergence.
Well,
We
even if you
charge
just
different rates.
even if you just look at the tree trimming bill, which the bill says it was to take down a tree that fell in an alley on Center Street, but the bill that was charged to LMU to trim the tree was $780. Then LMU added $312 as an administrative fee and is asking the city to pay over $1,000 for a $780 tree trimming bill. I mean, this is real money that belongs to the people who live here.
Say, that's questions that, there's a lot of them in there. But
Can I-
if LMU wants some money, let's get the material money back to them. I don't have a
Well,
problem with that.
if we wanna
and
have a
we'll finish
debate
it.
over the percentages, we can, but the bill for the stuff we actually paid cash out of pocket for, the work, the materials, the contractors, like Terry Sloan, we need to be reimbursed for those.
Well, there's no debate, we cannot pay this. You have to build a
Dale, I was on the
project
phone
like
with the
this.
attorneys prior to walking in here, because I knew you'd pull something like this. They disagree with you. They disagree with you.
Okay, can I ask one other question, Olin? Just for clarification. So whenever you guys do work for anybody, you charge full benefits on the
Absolutely.
wages?
Every time.
Okay, why would you charge us full benefit wages at the city when we're paying those benefits?
You're paying for a benefit.
What's
You're paying
that?
for the health insurance. The rest we pay.
What, so can you explain that out?
Pay the retirement taxes.
Okay, but the charge was like $18.71 per employee per hour,
That's our full benefit rate.
Which we got from HR.
which, is any of that include health insurance? Then why didn't we get reimbursed for that? Because it has to go back.
I'd be happy to talk to you
Okay, but
about
for
it.
everybody, you just said you do that for
We do it for
everybody you've
everybody.
ever charged.
That's right.
I want reimbursed for every project that you've ever charged, overcharged,
Pay your bill
for
and we'll talk
benefits.
about it.
Because, no, we are gonna
No,
talk about it.
Pay your bill, we'll talk
You're
about
gonna
it.
pay it. These people will expect to be paid.
Okay, then I'll bill you for the civic park, the work that we did for
No,
the
you're
park.
not.
Oh, we're not?
No.
But wait a minute, that's 200,000. What about Preble Road?
Well, and that's the thing, all of these numbers, again, everything in my report is available to everyone sitting up here and everyone in the public.
And we'll provide
everyone
a
should be
report of our own
Everyone
with
should be
our
very
actual
concerned about not just this bill, but everyone should be concerned about the fiber project and what we see as almost $10 million disappearing. Everyone should be very concerned about all of this, and this information is available to anyone who wants to take a look at it.
We can't actually talk about the litigation that's going on, but our biggest customer that accounts for hundreds of thousands of dollars is not paying us right now.
Yeah, the one that you refused to give us information on.
$10 million of spending, I mean, we're talking a lot of money, thousands.
We're mitigating that right now.
That's the
We'll be
reason.
mitigating
Yeah,
that.
it's in
We've already
litigation.
discussed
Yeah,
that.
remember that, Dal? The one that you said you had 2 rate studies
Oh,
done on,
that's-
but they wouldn't give us information?
That's enough.
Now,
Let's
Here's
just go on.
something
Let's
that
go on.
I just can't believe. Dale, you're supposed to be looking out for the city of
I am.
Lawrenceburg.
Oh, no.
And right now, you just made a comment that we got $10 million disappearing in a fiber, which everybody in this town, I want to be excited about this project, and yet somehow or another, I've got a lawyer sitting behind this counter giving me legal advice stating how $10 million is somehow just disappearing. Are you working with us, or are you trying to make us look like fools here? Because
Don't answer.
everything that I've been hearing the last 2 or 3 weeks and longer, I'm getting tired of it. There's no positive at all. Nothing positive. This fiber project was one of the best things to come along in the city of Lawrenceburg, and here we are tonight getting a statement that says we got $10 million disappearing.
Okay.
I mean, guys, this is ridiculous.
no, it
We
is,
are-
it is, and it's not, Satch. I want to know where the money's going. I didn't, up to this point, and I asked at the last USB board meeting, how much money have we put into fiber? I have not got that answer yet. I'm getting it at the next board meeting. And if it's over $5 million,
What we gonna do?
I don't know the
Call it
taxpayers
off,
wanted
go
that.
back through and yank all the fiber out and
no, but don't you want to know how much it costs? Don't you want to okay it before it's spent?
Mayor, is there any way to get the State Board of Accounts down here for a meeting? Because we got, he's saying they're all for it, he's saying they're all against it. I mean,
It's just like the rodeo thing. We went up, first of all, we suggest that we go and have a meeting with State Board of Accounts. Dell told us we couldn't. We had to talk to him, which was a lie. Colin and I go up and sit down with them, start going through all the finances for State Board of Accounts, and they said, as long as you have this documentation you're showing us when we come down there, we don't have a problem. not a single problem. Richard wants to say we spent all this money on the rodeo, because the company's name is Rodeo Time, even though he's seen at least one of the ads, I would think. We have all these ads made, but he wants to attribute all that to the rodeo expense without even having a single conversation with a single person in this building. It's an investigation. I guess it's an investigation. Sounds like a lynching, but whatever.
Hey, Paul, you make a good comment. I think, I mean, the fiber, I mean, I think everybody, you know, I've been a big cheerleader of it myself. I would like to know what we think it's going to cost to finish, because I don't know that we have those costs. I mean, maybe you do, but I would like to, I think we should be able to get those costs.
We presented in a work session
I'm sorry?
what we thought the total cost build out was going to be.
And what was that number?
That number was close to $6 million. We presented it in a work session. Everybody was here to listen to that discussion. We had a budget that we submitted with Crow that showed the expenditure for the fiber network. That expenditure was in excess of $3 million. We have been following that budget, which we submitted, which was approved, and that was been some years ago now. So we have been following and doing those things, and we have been doing that without coming to the city and asking for a handout from MDF. We've been putting money into the, I'm just saying, we've been trying to do this in a way that is self-supporting and self-sustaining. We had a bid that would add $2 million of debt to that project. Everybody was here when we talked about it. We rejected that bid and said in that meeting, we'll do that work ourselves. And we have been doing that work ourselves. It extended the time frame, but we've been doing that work ourselves.
Have you been getting any call? I've gotten some calls. I know you have too.
I have.
From people wondering when it's going to be at their property.
That's right.
These are people that we probably, some of them we told it was going to happen last September.
Well, no, we never promised anybody. We went around and asked people if they wanted to have fiber services so we could start propagating the map. We have an interactive map that is on Facebook that people can click on and tells them when we think that we're going to be getting to their houses to hook them up.
Because the last phone call I got, and I don't know if you're aware of this, you may have got the same phone call. A lady up at Riviera called and said, hey, I've been on the list for a long time.
She has?
I was told that many months ago it was going to be, I would be hooked up. But now I'm being told that there's not enough people in that area that are wanting the fiber.
That's
so
not true. That's not accurate.
That's what she said.
Well, that's what she said,
Okay.
but that's not accurate. The problem with that is that's private property. And we're trying to work through the agreements with Riviera to be able to have access to those units.
Did anybody explain that to her?
Everybody I've talked to has had those explanations given to them. If people want to just say they've heard things, I don't know how to
Right.
combat that.
Right.
But everybody we've talked to, we've been able to give them an explanation that they understand. The customers that we have are thrilled. Anybody that's built a utility out, I mean, please understand, this community is got the most cutting edge, best communications platform in probably the state of Indiana. Very fortunate to have it. We've got some great skilled people who are building it, and all we seem to be catching from it is hell. So.
Well, when we first discussed this, we were supposed to have free Wi-Fi downtown in July. Then it went to August. Then it went to September. Well, that's a year ago. And now I'm being told, which I asked at the last meeting, I'm being told the free Wi-Fi will not come in until the whole project is done.
No, that's
That was Moosh is the one who told us this at the meeting.
I know what Moosh told you, but there's areas that do have free Wi-Fi. There's areas that do have free Wi-Fi, and we didn't say the entire community. We said we're going to focus on the Section 8 homes for the kids that couldn't afford the
No,
internet.
we said all of downtown. We didn't say no, just Section 8 homes.
We were going
No.
to focus on the Section 8 homes first. That's what we
So
said.
can I ask, where are you guys doing it systematically up on the hill and then downtown it by street? Or
We're hooking people up downtown and on the hill both.
I mean, by a system?
By a system.
By road to road?
Yep. Well, no, if you go and look at the map, it will show the areas that we're in working, and it gives a timetable to when we'll be in those areas to hook other customers up. And the schedule that we're getting, we're keeping. As people go off the schedule, other people are added to the schedule. It's really easy to criticize, but this is a major undertaking, and we're doing a hell of a good job with it.
So is there a way to get what the additional costs are going to be?
Sure.
Okay.
But those costs are never going to stop. I mean, we're always going to have construction costs. Every time we build something to somebody else's house or have a drop or something like this, there's going to be additional costs. It's no different than the electrical system.
But
It
if
always
you,
costs.
but you built this based upon so many customers signing on,
That's
correct?
right.
So you could base your cost going forward on, okay, if those, all those
Well,
customers
you
that
build
we
out for
thought.
the entire system, but we expected about a 70%.
So if 70% of them go online, what's the additional cost from today going forward? We should be able to figure that out, right?
We know what last mile fiber is gonna cost us, yes.
And that's supposed to be at our next USB meeting, right? Because that's what I asked for. Okay.
And I also remember the conversation, and I don't know how long ago this was, but once you get to the point you're talking about, then the payoff point was what, 4 to 6 years, 5 to 6 years?
We had a meeting on this last week, and Moosh said his estimate was 5 years, but just keep in mind, we pushed that timetable out by not accepting that $2 million bid for last mile fiber in here that one night. Also keep in mind that we have got, Greg and I just had discussion on this last week. We've got settlement discussions with CenturyLink, who owes us money for make-ready work. That was part of the pole attachment agreement that we signed and completed. And I talked about those costs in these meetings, that because CenturyLink wasn't willing to do their pole attachment work, wasn't willing to do the make-ready work, that we were gonna have to encumber those costs, but that we were gonna get those costs back. Portion of them anyway. So we've talked about all those kinds of things.
Okay, so can we go back to the point about getting LMU paid? Can we pay for material or the subcontractors that did work?
We can't pay this bill at all. the way it's
Dale, that is not accurate. It's not up to you.
Look, I've lost all faith in Dale's advice.
I have not.
With Tony, put the bill in front of me, let me look at it. I have not even seen the bill yet, but I'll look at it and make my own judgment, but there's been too much stuff come up. I'm not taking that for an answer. I'm just not.
Then I would advise you to get some kind of advice.
I got it today, and I'll be happy to have advice tendered to y'all. Dale's not easy to counter, so.
Well, how about we call another meeting with another lawyer?
Either that or we can make a decision, guys.
I'm not gonna vote to pay the whole bill because there's too many questions,
fine,
okay?
that's what
But
I
I will
said.
pay
Let's look at the
material and
bill.
these subcontractors. I don't want subcontractors coming and doing work for the city and
Take a
not
motion
getting
on
paid.
that right now.
We'll sit back and vote to pay the bill, not the bill, and wait, and if we do something wrong, we'll see if the pay the bill police don't show up and throw us all in jail.
See, that's not funny.
It's not funny, Dale, I'm tired of it. Between the fake reports that we haven't got, I'm just lost.
But Dale,
I'm just tired of it.
It does get kind of aggravating. You vote against and gave advice against every person up here, but not the mayor. I
I'm
know.
not giving advice for or against anyone. I'm
Well,
telling you, I'm what the law is. Aaron.
Okay, I say get the state board of council in here.
You can
But
do
I'm
whatever
saying,
you like.
you go against everything people say up here, every single person up here. I'm not sure about Richard.
Are
but-
you running for mayor? Do you have a reason for making this statement?
No, I'm saying it in general. Like you disagree with every person up here except for the mayor. You're turning it political. I didn't say anything about it.
Oh, I made it political. You didn't.
You said my running for mayor. That's obvious. You've seen it in the paper. You know that.
Right.
So-
This is not political. This is the law. This is a bill
That's why I
that we
said get the
can't
state
pay.
board of council in here.
State board of council will not come down here and give an opinion. They
They've
don't
called
do
me
that.
several times over the years. They will come down here.
Okay, well, call them and see if
Give me,
they'll
give
come
me
down.
their number and I'll call them and
All
people to
right.
talk to.
May I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Can we, Dale, break this bill down and do what Tony had said? Look at the material cost, look at contractor cost, look at whatever cost, and pay portions, or is it the whole bill, or the combination of all of it, or can we pay in sections? Do you know that
That's fair.
answer?
I'll take a look at it. The primary issue with the bill as it's tendered is that there was no bid done. So normally for a project, any project, and that's come up 2 or 3 times now with, the fiber, with this bill, with the moving the pole, there's no process where here's an engineer's estimate, here's how much it's gonna cost. You guys agree with that, then you vote. Then, okay, let's appropriate for that money. The mayor has to do that. Then council votes to accept the appropriation. Then we have a budget and a line item for it. When that process is not followed and
understand,
this work
but
is just
I'm
done.
talking about materials.
Shame on our lawyer for not pointing us in the right direction.
All right,
We've been
that's
3.5 years.
that's not helping nothing. Can we pay the subcontractors?
We can't
I don't
vote to
see
pay
why we
nothing right-
cannot-
We don't have appropriated right now.
But I will take a look at it. That's a fair question.
But
I'd like to make a motion that we pay subcontractors, materials, and then we look later at the markups.
But we can't do that. None of this has been appropriated yet. I'll take a look at
I'm
it.
making a motion.
Well, no, wait.
Paul,
We gotta go by the
you can make the
law.
motion, Paul.
If the law says it has to be appropriated,
If there's no money to pay it, it can't be paid without appropriation. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, I'd like to see the bill broken down. Material cost, subcontractor cost, labor cost, truck cost, overtime cost, every item separate, and a total at each one. And then we can decide if we want to appropriate money or if we don't.
we can do that in the
For
same
what
meeting.
sections we want to
Well,
appropriate.
if you guys are wanting to do something like that, I would ask Richard's office to work with Colin's office.
Colin can have it probably done
And,
in 10
I
minutes.
think you've
no,
got
I
it with
doubt
you.
it.
Yeah, can.
Colin has it with him.
Smart kid.
This is thick, yeah, but they're gonna go back and look at it.
He's a smart kid. He could probably have it done in 10 minutes.
No doubt in my mind.
I believe Colin came here tonight with that all broken down. We have the percentages removed from it.
Sent to us.
Okay.
Can you get us the detailed?
All right.
It's there.
Aaron, you wanna bring up Steve's proposal?
But wait a minute, let's finish that. I mean, can
Yeah.
we add another meeting to our morning meeting?
We'll get a meeting as soon as we can get some satisfaction out, if they're both agreeing, yes,
Okay, it's fine then.
okay?
That's fine.
You wanna bring up? Steve?
Yeah, last meeting,
business?
we were presented a proposal by Steve Linkmeyer to settle the storage unit loan for $80,000. And several members asked him to be here, and he's here tonight. So, Steve, you want to talk, or?
This is gonna be a hard act to follow, I'll tell you. I'm here tonight to propose. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm here tonight to propose that I give the city of Lawrenceburg $80,000 in a cashier's check, and we stop all the attorney fees and all the stuff that's been going on the past few years, and we call it quits.
Do we also get the 3,000 that's in the escrow?
Yeah. Being there's supposed to be about, I'm thinking about 26,000.
We're getting a report on that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe Richard could help that along. I don't know. You know anything about that, Richard?
I can find out.
Okay. Well, nevertheless, but I've got a check here tonight. I'll give it to you. If you like, take it. If not, fight on.
I'd make,
This is for the store and locks
Yeah.
only.
now, everybody realize this is just for storage.
Yeah, just storage.
Buildings. It doesn't have anything to do with the other loan.
No, nothing.
Now, the only thing that's been going on here is receivers have been making $750 a month of our money. And lawyers have been making money every month of our money for quite a long time. So I'll make a motion to accept his $80,000 check plus whatever's in the receiver's escrow account.
And just for the record to show, I think Richard said at the last meeting before the fees and stuff, it had a amount of 115,000 on it, so.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
81,000.
All right.
You gotta beat 83.
Motion, Tony, was to accept the,
The $80,000 check and whatever's in the escrow that the receiver has,
For the
which
store and
I
lock.
heard was 3,000, which I can't.
for the store and lock.
Yeah, for the store and lock only, and that
All right.
wipes out this lawsuit.
Motion on the floor, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I ain't gonna worry about it. Against? 4-0.
So how do you want to proceed? I got the check with me.
I'll take care of it. I'll reach out to Steve.
All right.
Yep.
Make that 5-0, Your Honor. I'll vote.
What if I just drop the check off to Richard tomorrow?
That's fine.
Can I do that, Richard?
That's fine.
All right, thanks, sir. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Certified check.
I got it. Okay, Paul, I think you had something to bring up about the amphitheater change order.
Yeah. Demo project on the river on the levee. We've got a change order. Anybody has any questions on it? It is a joint project with the city of Lawrenceburg and the Conservancy District.
Is it a 50-50 project?
50/50 project, yes it is. So we would, Conservancy has already okayed this change order. So if anybody, what you've got is the area down there is real muddy and we needed to keep the trucks running, so we gravelled the road when we had that spell of rain. And then on the top, which I think Mario's familiar with, it was tied into the top of the flood wall. So we're gonna put back some rebar that's gonna extend out into the sidewalk because there was a pretty good sized crack, probably all within 2-3 feet of where it cracked. So there's gonna be a little additional work go on in that area that wasn't there before.
Any questions about that, guys? So our half of it would be, I believe, 4240?
Yeah, I think I gave all the copies away.
Yeah, that's what I have down. Yeah, it'd be 4,240 is our half of the change order. We'd have to write a check to the LCD. It's their project, and they wrote a check for the full amount.
I'll make a motion to do so.
Second. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain, should I?
Okay, yeah, roll call, please.
Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Yay.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Yes.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Yes.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Yes.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries 401. Okay, any other old business?
Just one thing, Your Honor. Dale, can I have the name of the people you spoke with at State Board of Accounts?
Todd Caldwell, he's their primary counsel. Susan Gordon also works in his office.
Did they provide you with any letters? They didn't give you an official report, they just told you all this stuff and put your letter?
They told us that.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
And the other thing I want to be sure and go on the record for, so later we can't say, well, we didn't hear any of this. The one customer that provides us with about 80% of our revenues has been paying their bill to us. Okay, so that accounts for all but about $200,000 of utility revenues in electric. And I do want to remind everybody, this is the issue that we've been dealing with in getting information from our attorney so that we can properly fight this lawsuit. Just want to make sure this is on the record.
I didn't think they were 80% of our revenue. This is the electric company, right?
80% of our income.
Net income. So if we have $1 million in net income, they account for $800,000. And that's a bill we still pay. We still pay for the purchase power, we're just not receiving that money.
I don't think it's a good idea to talk about this in a public meeting. It's ongoing litigation.
Well, those are facts.
I would just
We're not
advise you
gonna
not
say
to.
names, we're just talking numbers.
Can you,
Okay.
Colin, can you step up to the podium a second? Can you explain to me a little bit better about we are paying we're paying for electric that they're still using, but they're not paying us?
Correct.
Now, I would ask a lawyer about that, Mr. Seymour, because if he talks about that too much, it's an open court case, which we're trying to mitigate now. So I don't want to see nothing mess that up.
Seems like a bad idea.
We can get this settled maybe in a month by talking to each other, and I don't want to mess anything up on that.
Good point.
Do you agree? Because you're the one that's gonna be mitigating it on that case, I think.
I agree, but if we want to talk about actual risks to the utility, in my opinion, that's the only risk we have. That's the exposure that we have.
Okay. Comments from the audience?
After all that, no comments?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to comment.
It's been an interesting meeting. Every one of you guys are running for a re-election of some sort.
Excuse me, I'm not.
Oh, not Mel. That's right. You moved on. All right. You have an employee that has been spending money, and in spending money in a way that it appears that he has not had approval on. Now, as a citizen and a voter and a ratepayer, I'm not questioning him. He reminds me when I was in sales. Spend the money and beg for forgiveness later. That was the way I operated for 26 years. But what I'm disappointed in is all you guys. You are the managers. You are the bosses. You give him direction. You stipulate what he can spend and what he can't spend. And you do that before he spends it. Now, Mr. Seymour, you are his biggest ally. Why don't you get with him and say, Mr. Clausen, don't you spend a dime until it comes before this board. And then all the problems are solved. But if you guys just sit there and say, well, it's been 6 months and Mr. Clausen spent $1.3 million and I'm just finding out about it, then shame on every one of you. Every one of you.
Yeah, that's what you wanted us to do when you and your ex-wife got $200,000 from the city.
Yeah, and you know what, Aaron? When you abused your seat as councilman and sued us because you and your father-in-law wanted that building. And you drug it out for 2.5 years, cost me $60,000, so you and your father-in-law could get your hands on that building. And you want to run for mayor? You are the cheapest, lyingest person on this table.
Tim.
That's all false, I'd like to say, because...
Well, if he's going to continue to talk, then I'm going to continue to talk.
I'm responding to what he says.
Because he's full of crap.
I feel like I should defend myself.
Let's drop. You brought it up first.
No, but
I'm going to defend myself, too.
That's fine.
Come on, or else we're going to have to shut her down.
So he's allowed saying what he wants about me. I can't say
putting up with
anything.
his crap.
But you brought it up first, and then he went, or else it would have never gotten brought
You
up.
think you can throw shots like that out and me not stand there and take it? You're full of crap, Mr. Cook.
Have a good night.
Tim, sit down.
Punk-ass bastard.
Mayor, what about that, Mayor?
Tammy, my answer to you is plain and simple. I remember okaying these things. I remember the tents. I remember the fiber. I remember the prices and the different things. I remember okaying things. My memory ain't that good, but when it comes to things that stand out, I just remember this stuff. I can't believe that we don't. I mean, this fiber, how long is it? This is a two-year project?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, a 2-year project with a lot of decisions that we all made. Randy, how about a little help here? I mean,
this could all be solved if Richard could pull the minutes from the work session meeting we had.
I'm not letting this man.
I mean, we had a work session, talked about this.
Hell, it's a
We pulled the
project.
meetings for the work session, where we talked about approval for the ad budget. We talked about what the last mile of fiber is going to cost. We approved those things. We had a work session in this room right here and discussed all that.
If you know anything about me at all and been paying anything attention about what I've been doing the last 3.5 years sitting at this desk, is maintenance.
What's that?
Is that the one
I've
we
been
had lunch
behind
provided?
maintenance. I've been trying to get things done, okay, and we've been, I got a guy here that's a doer. He's not a guy that, I know how things are supposed to get done. You gotta have money to do them. You know, this project over here on Front Street, I rode by that every day. These guys have seen that project. Did you see all that conduit put in the ground? Did you see the big pole? Did you know that there's a lot of work that took place there, and we're not even done yet. So does $1 million sound like a lot of money? $1 million is a lot of money, guys, but I'm gonna tell you something. $1 million don't do a whole lot nowadays. You know, I think we're getting all worked up here and we're making fools out of ourselves over this project, and all I wanna do is get it paid, and I wanna make my utility company whole, because guess what? They're us. I don't wanna hurt the utility company. If we used to do it in the past and we used to take that MDF money and help out with projects, hell, I like projects. I don't wanna sit here for another 4 years not doing anything. We've spent, this group right here has spent a lot of money in the last 3.5 years, but I can tell you something. I think we all got something to hang our hats on. I think we've done a pretty good job. We've done things that hadn't been done in the past. We fixed things that we've built. And if I sit in here, and if I'm lucky enough to sit in here again, I'm gonna make the same kind of decisions that I made before. And if people don't want me sitting here, they sure know the reason why not to vote for me. If they don't like the way I've been voting, look, I'm an open book.
Well, before the casino come in, Civil City didn't have the money to pay their Civil City workers. They had to borrow money from the utilities to pay their Civil City workers.
Guys, let's just settle down a little bit and do some things. We're all trying to, we're making, every one of us are looking bad here. We just need to sit back, and when we get into these projects, let's just do them, do a good job, get them done, and move on to the next one. You know,
I would suggest everybody go and watch that video from that work session. Read the minutes from the meeting, because we discussed all these things. This is no secret.
Mr. Clausen, Mayor, I would like to invite the members of the public and members of council to come up and see the time it takes and what it takes to install a service, whether it's fiber service or a house service. Go watch. See how long it takes, see what material it takes. Then you'll have an idea, and if you want to comment, you can comment intelligently, because you've seen the action. Okay? That's from an old lineman. Come watch me work.
Oh, let's move on. I'll make that motion for adjournment.
We got stuff to do.
Oh, we do.
Okay, any other old business? Yes.
Can I get some feedback from the board in regards to the letters on the art as far as color and?
Gold. I like the gold.
Blue.
Doesn't blue kind of pay tribute to our officers also?
The only thing that you may want to consider, at night, the white shows up the best. Because there's no lights actually up on it.
I think it's a good white. You know, up here at the Lawrenceburg sign, I think we ought to light it up. You can't see that.
Can't see it.
So white sounds good to me.
That's gold.
I know, but no matter what you
like
put up
gold?
there, unless there's a
Or white?
background behind it, you're not
Well, the
gonna
white
see it.
will have like reflective properties on it, will pick up some light.
I've talked about 20 or 30 people, and I think all of them said gold except for one.
That's fine. I don't know. But I'd like to be able to see it when I drive down through there.
It don't matter to me. I'll go if Aaron wants to make a motion, but I will say this, it's a real nice project. It looks great.
We'd like to thank Dennis also. He supplied the rock for the bottom of that project.
Well, you're not paying me for that? We had
Soon.
leftover stones from our.
We got any more,
Do we need to make a motion for that, Mayor, for the color, or?
What do you guys want?
Painted.
Go ahead and make.
I'll make a motion to, make the letters gold.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Aye. Oh, well, I don't know. No guy. 5-0.
We gonna light it up like we did the other one?
No.
That was quick.
Sorry. Maybe we should. That's up to you guys.
No discussion.
It's up to you guys. All right, any more comments from the audience?
Hey, I just want to apologize. That was very unprofessional. It was wrong for me to lose my temper like that. That's the Irish coming out in me, and I sincerely apologize for being disruptive.
Don't blame it on the Irish. That's Scottish
You
doing
okay with
that,
that?
not Irish. Leave us Irish alone.
All right, I have some advanced claims for approval for, this looks like for the Fall Fest. Looks like some for reimbursement to the Dearborn Adult Center for $25.50, Modern Printing Solutions for $237.90, Murray Brothers $22.05, River City Classics is $4,585, Pro Video Audio $27,975 for sound and lighting, Creative Artists $62,500. That's probably for the remainder of an artist. Kincaid Entertainment $12,000, Riverside Inn $2,100. Comfort Inn, $1,530, total $133,453.40. Those are advanced claims. Can I get a motion to approve those? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who made the motion?
Tony?
Tony?
Mel did.
Or Mel made
Mel did.
the motion.
Yeah, the guy's not running again.
Yeah. Entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Yes. I just that means it's a lot, but
You know, I take 3 blood pressure pills a day.
Got an idea.
Joe.
Hey, thank you again, Lee. Lee, thank you again.
She called and she said nothing on the agenda. That's fine.